Hey everyone, welcome back to Everyman Prepping. And yes, those war drums are beating, and they're beating louder and louder day by day, closer and closer to a global world war. So I have a bunch of stories to go through, a bunch of news stories we're going to talk about to show how those war drums are all over the globe. We're going to go through them real quickly. I know your time is valuable. You're busy getting ready, prepping, doing all that great stuff to make sure you're ready for that World War III Connect exchange that looks like it's coming. So let's get started with those right now, right away. As you can see here, we're going to start off with a story from Sunday. U.S. intelligence deems the Ukraine counteroffensive a failure. Some of you might have heard of this. It's not really in the mainstream media, but it has been going around. As you can see here, it says that the Ukraine spring counteroffensive failed to meet its core objectives. Western officials said their war games have predicted massive Ukrainian losses, but that Kiev would remain committed to the operation to gain the upper hand on the battlefield. Well, that doesn't seem to be what's happening. I mean, Ukraine is committing people. They're just shoving soldiers and more men into that meat grinder than you could ever imagine. The losses are huge. They've barely made any headway. And in fact, Russia, on their own attack now, has taken some of the east back from Ukraine. So it's not looking good, but Biden's still shoving tons of weapons and money at them. We have an article coming up showing there's new armaments heading that way. Even though it looks like it's a lost cause, we just keep feeding that system. That military-industrial complex is loving this one. So to prove the point of they're not really doing so well on the Ukrainian side, we have this here. There's absolute, and these are all quoted from the website War News 24/7. It's a Greek website. Seems to be pretty fair and balanced, but that's where this has come from. If you go to that website, you have to use a translator because it's all in Greek, obviously. Unless you speak Greek, then you're good. Anyway, it says absolute disaster. Russians annihilated in the blink of an eye 31 tanks and 2 more columns of Ukrainians. Then it goes on up here on the right. Russian forces wiped out Ukrainian bridgehead near Kherson. Ukrainians dropped weapons and tried to flee by swimming. Down below, Russian soldiers said, quote, massacre of Ukrainians in Robotino, whatever that is, in a repeat of the Battle of Kursk. And then lastly, we see that says Russian Lancet kamikaze drones wreak havoc on the ranks of the Ukrainian army. So just a small example of how it's not going so well for the Ukrainians, but they're giving them weapons and money and arms, and and unfortunately the Ukrainian people are paying the price. And if we go to another story here, let me put it up really quick here, you'll see. Lukashenko did a interview with a Ukrainian journalist, and he had some quotes here. It says, Putin has decided to end Ukraine. Russia will take Nikolava, Odessa, and reach Transnistria. And you look at this map, and you'll see, I'll show you in a minute, that Lukashenko provided a map. I don't know if this is the exact one, but he quotes as providing a map for the journalist. It's saying Russia in red here, and it looks like they're taking, this is Kharkov right now. They want that back by Kherson. They want all the south, all the way to Odessa, through Transnistria, all the way to Moldova, which is here. And this is Romania. And you'll notice that the west part of Ukraine has been colored to look like Poland. They think Poland's going to take Lviv all the way over. I don't know how far that is, but take a big chunk of Ukraine. Leaving Ukraine, the blue and yellow here in the middle, just a little rump state, no access to the Black Sea, no ports. Basically a shell what it is. And they basically have said in the last few days, some of their leaders, Medvedev and such not, that they need to annihilate the political system, political people within Ukraine, and then they'll be done. So that's what's going on here. I think down below is what we have is Lukashenko told the journalist, I have prepared this map, especially for you. Russia will dismantle your forces and military equipment here. So, but instead of a bunch of other stuff, we basically said, we're going to, destroy your country and your military. So that's from Lukashenko. Now let's go on over to the rest of the stories here. And we see that, Ukraine's losing the counteroffensive. So what are they doing? They're sending tons of drones basically into Russia. Don't know how much effect that's really having. They're piecemealing it. Most get shot down by air defense. But they keep doing it. It's just like a little gnat trying to bug a giant animal. And eventually the gnat's going to get swatted, I think. I mean, they're not really doing much. We'll see what they have here. It says, a major Ukraine drone attack targets 4 regions of Russia. It's impressive that they're getting into Russia as far as they are. But they said on Sunday there was a major drone attack from Ukraine on 4 separate regions. Not sure if this is how this is supposed to launch this, but here's a photo of a guy launching a drone. Moscow region was attacked. The Belgorod region was attacked. that said that 12 targets in Belgrade were all shot down. The biggest impact, the most significant, was the one coming up here. Let me show you. Now it says unverified photos show a parked Russian long-range nuclear bomber burning in the aftermath of a Saturday drone attack on the airfield of Novgorod. So if they really did get to a couple of Tu-22 M3 bombers and took him out, that's pretty impressive. You know, I don't think they could fly that far from Ukraine. Maybe this was launched by, people inside of Russia. You know, they snuck in there, or their partisans inside there. But hey, they got 2 bombers supposedly, so you know that's pretty good. But like I said, I don't know if it's just like little bothersome things at a big attack. I don't think it's going to get the Russians out of Ukraine. So I don't know what the strategy is. It doesn't look like they have a good strategy. Maybe they need to change their strategy. But moving on, the U.S. said, well, nothing else working, right? Let's approve sending F-16s to Ukraine. Why not? We'll give them from Denmark and the Netherlands. Ship them over there. Let's see what Russia does when we cross this red line. You know, back in January, when Abrams tanks were approved, which haven't been shown up yet, but I said planes will come next. And well, what do we got? 8 months later, we got planes coming in. The talk has been that they've already been to the airfields in Ukraine. They've landed, tested them out, that they can handle the F-16. They can take off and land, so that's good. The reason why Russia freaks out about F-16s going there is they can be equipped. I don't know what these missiles are on here, or bombs, but they can be equipped with nuclear warheads. And of course, you know, Russia said that we'll assume that any F-16 flying in Ukraine is equipped with that, and we'll act accordingly. So it looks like we're going to see what happens with that soon. Even today, Dmitry Medvedev, on his Telegram, you can see in the community section of my page. If you just go on over to the community, you'll see a post where he did a Telegram post saying, he used an old World War II German airplane destroyed, saying that since NATO thinks this was a great day sending these, we're basically going to have to end Europe. Basically what he says. Read it, you'll see. But Medvedev, once a week or so, calls for the destruction of Europe. So that's basically where we're at with the F-16. It's going to be interesting. They start flying over Ukraine. Are they getting picked off? Does Russia, hit back at NATO establishments outside Ukraine because of that? It's only a matter of time, if you ask me. Moving on, we're going over here to Belarus. It says here, the Belarusian forces are conducting landing and assault drills near the Polish border. So here we are, they're practicing helicopter landings. It says they confirmed a 5-day training exercise for land and assault forces in a city called Brest, which is right next to Poland. Of course, Poland just sent 10,000 troops to the border of Belarus because they think that they're going to get invaded. Belarus thinks Poland's going to invade, so you got 2 people sending lots of troops and doing training next to the border. Last time this happened, Russia did it with Ukraine, and an invasion happened. So this could be a war drum beating here that could start off the expansion of the war into Belarus, with Putin saying if anybody attacks Belarus, it's like attacking us, and we're going to come after you too. So there's that. Let's see what else we have. Oh yeah, the U.S. Embassy in Belarus. They put this out today. Do not travel to Belarus, they're telling you. And they also say that here, U.S. citizens in Belarus should depart immediately. And don't go through Poland because it's closed. U.S. citizens here are not permitted to go through Belarus to Poland from Belarus. So you have to go through Lithuania, I believe, or fly out of there. But basically get out of Belarus. Embassies start telling people this, it can be coming hot. Something bad can be happening. So look for Belarus to become hot soon. Now let's move over to the Asia theater. So, we talked about everything in the Europe that's a war drum. Now we're going to talk about China here. You can see they put out a video of them basically trying to, showing that they're invading Taiwan. We got tanks going across the open prairie, helicopters going through there, beach landings. So this is basically saying we're going to take Taiwan. It's a propaganda video, but that's what they're putting out there. So, they just want everybody to know they're coming for Taiwan eventually. And China's also doing this to stoke the fires. Beat those war drums. China rapidly building airstrips on disputed islands close to Vietnam. Why not? So there's some islands out here in the South China Sea. They're going to build some airstrips. The Philippines thinks that they belong to them, so this could be a point of contention. I mean, the Vietnam thinks that they're theirs. What happened with the Philippines was it last week the Chinese Coast Guards were blasting Philippine ships. They were trying to resupply some military people. They started blasting with water cannons and other stuff to get the Filipino ships to turn around. So we have that issue going on. So you got Vietnam, Philippines, China all having issues in the South China Sea. And then, of course, you have the U.S. and Korea starting to do their annual drills, which, of course, is this here. Pisses off North Korea's Kim. And he wants to do cruise missile tests because they started this. So over here we have doing a little cruise missile test. Here he is looking very, very awesome in his white and black as he watches the test. And he does this all the time. One time, though, one's going to hit something. All these ballistic tests are going to go bad. Or he's actually going to fire something at South Korea because he's not all there, I don't think. So look for more of this to happen. The entire time these South Korean and American drills are going on for the next week or so, he'll probably do a couple ballistic missiles, who knows what, but war drums over here as well. So all that, it says here he's calling them a rehearsal for war, but not good. And lastly, let's check this out here. We have what's going on in Western Africa. So remember, Niger had a coup, kind of went under the radar after a few days, where the ECOWAS, which is the Economic Community of Western African States, said, hey, we're going to give you X amount of days and you need to put the old president back in. And then that deadline passed, nothing happened. Then the media kind of forgot about this. Well, it's coming back now that says that preparations for a potential military operation against the rebels can be seen as military airfields in the ECOWAS states are having activity. They won't say who or what. There's talk there now in Nigeria, which is the biggest member, has the biggest military. Their Senate hasn't approved them to give their military to ECOWAS to go into Niger. So will they go without them? I don't know. Nigeria heads up ECOWAS. They're the ones that are running it right now. So we'll see what happens. But this is another war drum in Africa beating up. It's basically Russia, China, and Niger, Mali, and a few other countries over there, probably Chad, and I can't remember that third one on the top of my head, Bako Fason, whatever it is. But basically, you got those aligned with Russia and China, and then you have the ECOWAS aligned with the West, and, could be another hotspot going on. That's what I have for you on the quick rundown. As you can see, we have trouble in Europe, Africa, Asia, all those places. The only place we really don't have much going on right now is, the American continent and South America. Everywhere else, we're having a lot of activity. So what do? Well, you do what you've been doing, just like I say every time we get to this point in the videos. Oh, at this point, if you last this long, please like, share, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel. I do have another video coming out because, along with that, buy food and water and all that, we're going to see some prices go up. But Biden just put on some new tariffs that are going to affect food and solar. We're going to talk about that in the video, and also about how there's a fertilizer plant fire that happened last night. So that'll impact agriculture as well. That's all I have for you guys. Hope you got something out of this. And until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.